the market has been crazy. You're looking at this chart and you will not deny that. But you do understand the fact that fear is in the market. Last month, it was fear. Last week, it was fear. Yesterday, it was fear. And even today, it's fear. But what do you see in that trend? 41, 39, 32. You're going to which direction? If you understand that correctly, you're not panicking with these kind of drops. When the price of Bitcoin dropped from 61,300 all the way down to 58,900, not a lot of people were scared. Why? Because for some, they were already looking for this scenario. 4 days ago, we were arguing it's going to be a test of what? Local resistance. Then we may repeat what we have done before. Then we argued, watch, thought process like this should be understood. Then we put in the data saying, yeah, we used to do this and we haven't reached that bottom. Now, if you understand this ABC structure as a retest of the macro, you're not really scared. Rather, you're looking for this. SI family was looking at this and I was arguing this as a support. So now you go look at the market and you ask, okay, Bitcoin did drop, did panic, but XRP did not. And I'm like, okay, fine. If we go by the recent past, that's scary. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Now, why would I look at a chart like this and say that's scary? With the recent past, what we have seen drop, it wants to push the market to the downside. So now XRP is clearly saying at a support, I'm forming these 3 candles on a 3-day chart. And that's a reversal candlestick pattern. So if you go back, once we had this, we obeyed it. That was good. That was perfect. But remember, you had this and you retested that with a long wick before you went up. So, you need to be patient here. You need to look through the market and see if the market agrees. Because when you come here on the altcoin segment, on a daily chart, this is what you see. We had long wick to the downside. The price is still within that range. You push that on a 3-day, it's still pushing to the downside to test this line. That's resistance turning into support. So that's a long-term resistance turning into a support. Bitcoin dominance, as we were arguing here 4 days back, but it is pushing lower. On a daily, it's below the moving average. On a 3-day, it is getting close to that. So now we are putting in lower highs. We talked about this before. So now the thought process should be clear. The fear is in the market. Now, what kind of a fear is that? And that's what you understand on a daily index. Oh, it's real fear, man. Monthly, we are not doing anything worse. But then you put it on a yearly and you see this. I mean, this is honestly something which we should digest properly. Meaning you're forming an inverted head and shoulder pattern on a yearly, which is like last 2.5 years, you're forming this. So all the way from May 2022, April, May 2022 to this point, it is making an inverted signal that the market would like to go up in which direction? Towards the altcoins year. We haven't done that yet. We are trying to do that, but we haven't done that yet. We put in a lower low here, which is a long wick to the downside, which is this one. Now we are starting to go try putting in a higher low. That's what we are looking to do, which means on a monthly or on a daily index, when you're looking at this local low, understand on a macro, it would like to put in a higher low and bounce. Now it's not that scary. Now we understand this fear in the market is something you should take it as greedy, because that's how the saying goes, right? Clear. It's easy. What? When the market is in fear, you should be greedy. When the market is greedy, you should be in fear. So that's an easy thought process. But how can you make it practical? Say you take it on a weekly. This is just one chart. That's XRP. You'd like to go to another asset? We can do that. But now, look at this. We came down to the moving average. We hit that. And a support zone as well. And all of them together. So on a weekly, we're still at a support. There was a big drop to the downside with the news. Now we zoom in to see, okay, what exactly is happening there. And you're watching this. This guy is trying to make a double bottom and a bounce off. So if it does break 0.54, as we were arguing, you're going to watch 0.58, 0.59. If we break that, things change. Things change quickly. But the question is, can we break that? So you're now going to look at different assets. This is XLM within payments, but large cap itself. Now you see this. We did come down, but immediately we are pushing back into the pattern. Okay. So someone would like to buy that. Fine. You go to a small cap within payments. It shows you the fact that the trend line from a long-term perspective is still valid. You're now running on it. But to reach that trend line, you need to reach this point. So yes, the micro trend line broke. Now we're going to the medium-term trend line. That would be the best choice, right? If you do take it to the macro and then argue this, you'll see first trend line formation here and the second trend line formation here. So any bounce on which you're looking to go bullish is at the support or the break of this resistance. These are the two options which you will have in this industry. Say you want to look at the general market with the perspective of Ether. On a daily, you haven't changed much. You're still looking like you're forming the higher low pattern. You're forming this here. You're trying to bounce off. But the question is, we want to wait for the confirmation. We would like to see if we can do that. How can we understand if we are bouncing back up? On a 3-day, it doesn't show you I'm bouncing back up. Rather, it shows you my pressure to the downside is still alive. I'm retesting the moving average. I'm getting rejected. So the micro pattern towards the medium term pattern on the candlestick is still not supporting you. But then you do have to look at one thing, which is the long-term narrative of that asset to see, okay, if it's going down, how low should it go? That's one of the easiest, or what we say, the most logical thing to look at. Now, why is that? Because if it does go down, you need to know where the actual support is going to be. The low which Ether has made before is 2109. Okay, fine. So this time, if it come back down, it's close to that. Okay, that's kind of a retest which we have seen before. That's kind of a retest which we have seen even before that. So that would be logical if we do that. So the market showing you this is like, okay, I may do this and then bounce off. But the question is, whales may not actually give you that perfect of an opportunity, right? If that's a traditional breakout from the accumulation and a perfect retest, a lot of retail would get into it. Why would they allow? That's why I would personally look a little bit higher than that. Rather, I would look at 2275. 2250, 2275 should be where, if I'm to set my orders, I would think about that. Now, primary objective here is to go on to the Bitcoin chart. You want to make sure Bitcoin is doing the retest and bouncing off. So you want to look for the reversal. You can look for a 4-hour chart. You can look for a 12-hour chart. It doesn't matter. What you are looking at is a huge reversal candle. And until that is realized in the price action, you're not changing your direction. Because if you go into the altcoin market, you can actually watch there are coins which are still grinding to the upside. They're still slowly pushing to the upside. And even XRP is in that list without dropping much. It's still green for the weekly. That is a huge sign that something is shifting, because it's not only XRP, but also the assets like Uni, Popcat, OM. So say you go to another asset, OM, you just pick it up. Now you put it on a 3-day chart, weekly chart, whichever you want. But see, where would the resistance be? If you're looking for a resistance, where would it be? Okay, fine. So if you are to connect this and say that's a standard deviation, you'll still look at on a conservative manner towards 1.8. So you still have some room to the upside. Now you also have to watch how the charts vary. Maybe you want to check another asset. We'll take another one on a 3-day itself. On a macro, we're doing this. It's a breakout, it's a retest, it's trying to bounce off, right? Now, if you do consider the fact that the macro trend line has been looking like this for some time, you're like, okay, we are reversing at a support. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But then you'll have to ask the question, okay. Price did move to the upside, but the RSI did not. That's a negative divergence. And that negative divergence is on a 3-day chart. So you step back. You step back onto what? A weekly. And you're like, whoa. The next one is going to be a retest of the previous high, most likely giving you the idea, get out of the market. So once you understand which asset is doing what, you're not in fear, because you see, it just did a 15x plus in this run up. That's a good thing. Now, there are assets which have upside way more than that. And that's why in the SF family, we go through a lot of these data, a lot of these different charts, assets. So if you want to follow all of these assets and their charts, be in the SF family, use the link in the description below to jump in and use those things at the right time. So guys, if you received value, smash that like button. And if you haven't joined the Scientific Investor family yet, think about that. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.